Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Coach's Car Chronicles. My name is Charles Inferna, and I'm the throwing coach at Nazareth College. We're a small private D3 institution located in Rochester, New York. Today I wanted to touch base on our second episode of the 2016-17 season. I want to touch base a little bit about ways that you can enhance the relationships you have with your athletes. Now, a few weeks ago, I wrote a post on one of my blogs that talked about the 5 ways to enhance coach-athlete relationships. Now, these are only my 5 tips. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination when it comes to coach-athlete relationships, but I've studied them for a long time. Part of my job at the University of Rochester is to study and research people. So like I was saying, these are my 5 ways to enhance coach-athlete relationships, or what I think are the 5 most important characteristics to help bring about, ultimately it's going to bring about a better performance and a higher quality performance in your athletes based on the type of relationship you have. Now, for that particular statement, there is plenty of research and a plethora of information coming out of England that has researchers out there that have spent their whole careers looking at coach-athlete relationships and goal setting and motivation and athlete burnout and a whole slew of other variables. But that's where a lot of the information is coming out of right now. So with that said, here is my first way to enhance coach. Okay, the first step in enhancing coach-athlete relationships is to have open communication and open dialogue with your athletes. Now, a lot of people, when they talk about open dialogue and open communication, you hear the term transparency kind of thrown into the mix there as well. Well, I think as coaches, we do have to be transparent with our athletes. We have to let our athletes know, obviously, with track and field especially, where they're at, how things are going, talking about expectations, and likewise. So I try and open up the lines of communication before our season even starts. I have an individual meeting with all my athletes individually. I just said that twice. For those of you who watch, who are going to watch, and in those meetings, we talk about what they're interested in accomplishing that upcoming season, so the 2016-17 season as our example. Now, for some athletes, that's a difficult conversation to have, but what I mean by that is, in the past, I never had like a form or template or a ditto, as we used to say back in high school when I taught high school. So within those meetings that we have with our athletes, what I like talking about is their vision, what the athlete is interested in accomplishing, big picture. And it doesn't always have to be track related. This year at NAS, I have a couple students that are pre-med, sophomore and a senior, so I know their ultimate goal is not necessarily throw the shot put 30 or 40 feet. Because in the grand scheme of things, which is something else that I try and explain to them as well, when you're your 4th year medical student, you're going to graduate and you're going to be a doctor. I don't think too many people really care how far you threw the discus or the hammer, the shot put, or the javelin or anything like that. Really, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. But we talk about anything else that they're interested in accomplishing as well. We call those bigger vision ideas telescopes, and that's something that I borrowed from John Gordon. We talked about that at one of his blogs as well. World-renowned speaker, author of The Energy Bus, and other books, other fables about communication and team building and respect. And that's so with the open communication communication, it's important during those meetings with our athletes to talk about what their vision, what their big picture goals are, and also what they want to accomplish on more of a short-term level. So for our athletes, big picture vision might be what they want to do when they graduate from college. For others, it might be, this is what I want to do by the time I'm a sophomore, by the time I'm a junior. So we had a lot of different responses this year, which is great. More so on accountability, and I'll get to that in another video on coach-athlete accountability to each other. But really, the first meeting is to see where their minds are, what their mindset is, what their motivations are for what they want to accomplish, what their big picture vision goal is. And then we try and put together a plan on how we're going to get there. Now, the plan on how we're going to get there, that's pretty fluid, but that's where the communication and the transparency comes into play. That I have to be honest with my athletes and let them know that, maybe that's not such an attainable goal the first year. Or maybe, maybe you need to set your goals a little higher because you'll be able to hit that mark or get those grades after the first semester. So having that open dialogue and open communication is really important in order to get to an understanding of where everybody is. Now, when I used to do that in the past, especially at Fredonia, it was pretty non-existent. We would talk about goals. With one particular athlete that I coached. All right, we're going to go to nationals. Okay, that's fine. We'll see you in March. We'll see you Memorial Day weekend. And that was really about it. And there was never any discussion of accountability or how we're going to get there. It was just kind of assumed that whatever we did in the weight room and whatever practices we had in the circle, that was going to equate to a trip to nationals. And that's not the case now, especially with my mindset and my thinking, is that just saying, okay, we're going to compete at the Empire 8 Championships. Well, there aren't standards for that meet, so everybody competes at the Empire 8 Championships. So that's not really a good or strong vision goal for something long term. I want to qualify for states, or I want to throw at the ECAC Championships, or I want to break the top 25 in the country. Now, something along those lines, that's a little bit more difficult, not just because you have to throw a mark, but if you want to say you're going to finish in the top 25 in the shot put, men's shot put, you really can't control what other people are going to do throughout the course of the season. So it's kind of difficult to say I'm going to be in the top whatever when we don't control what other athletes are going to do. That would be great if we could, but unfortunately, if there's a bunch of throwers out in Wisconsin or Texas or California that have great seasons, and my athlete has a great season as well, but it's not good enough to make top 25, then that means that we didn't hit our goal. And it's not because we didn't hit our goal because of us not having a PR or not having a big-time performance. It just means that other people have better performances, and that's really outside of our scope as a coach. I wish I was a magician and we would be able to do that. I'm sure there's other coaches that feel the same way. So I tried sticking to things that were in their immediate control. Coming to practice when you're supposed to practice, keeping your training long, as far as mini goals that'll help us get to our bigger goal, and holding themselves accountable for what they want to accomplish. Because ultimately, in the end of track, and really any other endeavor, whether it's business or sports, or coaching or teaching, you get out of it what you put in. And throwing, if you just show up every Saturday or try to show up every Saturday, you might not have the performances that you were expecting. So you have to set many goals for yourself, and you have to be able to communicate that with somebody. Now, I just have the conversations with my athletes. I'm not sure if they have those communications with anybody else, but if any of them are watching this particular video, we are going to sit down as a team together once we going to spend some time talking about what each of us wants to accomplish and what our goals are, and hold ourselves accountable. And I think we could do that with open communication.